Everyone, welcome to Clark County Council Time, Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. We'll start with the roll call. Michelle?
Counselor Little,
Here.
Counselor Fuentes,
Here.
Counselor Belcott,
Present.
Counselor Young,
Here.
and Chair Marshall.
Here. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
None today. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll turn to public comments on agenda items only. Has anyone signed up?
Carmen De Leon,
Hello, my name is Carmen De Leon, and I go by Mello, and I am talking to the minutes of June 11th, and I made a mistake. I said my father's father when I actually meant my mother's mother, lived to be 103 and died a millionaire and owned a few blocks along with apartments and a school and a house on the beach. So he never saw fit to come live in the United States because he could make it in his own land. He didn't have to come here and do anything. He's a boss. He was a boss over there, born in 1916, died in 2019. And my father's father was a colonel, his father a general. And as I've said before, if you want to look up, and that's my correction, presidents of the country of Guatemala, the Presidents de Leon is my lineage. So anyways, that is my correction. And according to the rest of what you talked about on June 11th, you want to urbanize all of Clark County? Your priority is to clear cut and make more housing? I think the people of Clark County should be aware of this, that their elected officials actually want to make all of Clark County Vancouver. And that's scary because as we know, Vancouver is a mess. 900 calls to the police for the drug problem they helped create. So you really want that in all of Clark County? Let's urbanize Clark County? Is that what Clark County elected you for, was to turn us all into Vancouver? Because that's really scary. And like I said before, this math teacher who's making a mess of Clark County, I mean of the city of Vancouver, wants to now make a mess of all of Clark County. And are you guys really going to put up with that? Are you following her lead? Or are you going to make your own rules? Because according to the people of Clark County, they like living in the country. They like having their farms. And yeah, I don't believe that any more farmland. And I think I've even been here. That's why I feel like I'm talking to the wind, because I've told you that we should boycott clear cutting, like I think it was Switzerland or Iceland or something. They said no more clear cutting. There's no reason to clear cut. If you need housing and to build things, you can go up or down. You can, just like Vancouver, oh, they don't have to pay for parking. They don't want to put parking anymore. Guess what? I watched it at Research Stadium. They added 5,000 seats. They added 2 parking structures, about 5 or 6 levels. So don't tell me there's no room for parking. You can go up or down with parking. You can go up and down with living in apartments. You do not have to clear cut this beautiful land we have. It's sickening to think that. And you know, I mean, unfortunately, I'm out of time. But I think you guys need to reassess why you're up there. It's not to put us in the whole billions of dollars.
Thank you. Is anyone online?
We have one caller online. Nobody else has signed up in the room.
Okay, great.
Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please state your name for the record and go ahead with your comment.
Good afternoon, Kimberly Goheen Elvin, life citizen of Clark County, Washington, USA. I'm away from home, and so still going to perform my duty. And I want to give a little background of myself. Like I said, I was born and raised here in Clark County, Washington, USA. And I was born in Vancouver. I was raised in Battle Ground. I'm a Battle Ground Tiger. And I live in Le Center, where my mother was born. I took an oath on my 18th birthday there at the Vancouver Barracks to protect America from foreign and domestic enemies. And when I found out 5 years ago that Vancouver I consider a domestic enemy because of their sanctuary status, I've been
Kimberly,
on fire ever
is this
since trying to
related
speak up.
to
So
the
that's my
agenda?
introduction there. That's my chair, my introduction chair. I get to introduce myself. Thank you so much. With that said, I'm going to go on to the your regional parks funding task team. I'm going to ask citizens to audit everything you do, and I'll tell you why. You guys are going to explore and identify and recommend sustainable funding strategies for the region to preserve, maintain, and enhance public parks and natural areas, ensuring equitable access, promoting environmental stewardship, committing to health and wellness, and enhancing economic vitality to current and future generations. First of all, hard-earned tax dollars are going to these entities, which I call now big government. You're using all these things. And the fact is you do not put public safety first. It is the first thing that gets shut down in a financial crisis, of which Clark County is in. You are not managing our hard-earned tax dollars very well at all. In fact, your goals and objectives all refrain to protecting and making sure that the people that are there in the big government get their monies and things. But when it comes right down to it, another pandemic, of which the past ex-chair Medvedev said there will be another pandemic, that you guys shut those down first. And that's not going to work. It's not going to work this time, and it will not work. You claim here, so your scope of work is this: reviewing park infrastructures and program needs throughout the county, identifying funding sources that meet regional needs through 2040, developing a forum for coordination and partnership between stakeholders, recommending sustainable financial strategic strategies to elected officials. What does that mean? That means the people are out. You do not serve the people. You're not even running this business for the people, but that's what my job is to do: wake up the people here in Clark County, Washington, USA. So the thing is.
Thank you. Your time is up. Does that conclude?
That concludes public comment.
Okay, we've concluded public comment. On to old business. 4.1 is the minutes of June 11th, 2025. Are there any corrections?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I see under councilor reports, under the second bullet, Councilor Fuentes, there's a last sentence that's a little bit confusing. I think it meant to say the council unanimously approved the letter.
Approved.
I'm not sure, but I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So that requesting that change.
Great. Thanks. Any other corrections or changes? All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion with that correction to approve the minutes.
I'll move approval as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 4.2 Regional Parks Funding Task Team. So Rosh and Jenny, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council. For the record, I'm Jennifer Coker, Deputy Director of Public Works, here today with Ross Hoover, Division Manager. And the business before us is to request Council to appoint a representative for the Regional Parks Funding Task Team. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ross.
Thank you, Chair and Councilors. We first brought this topic to you in March, on March 26th, and returned in May, where we received direction to begin conversations and presentations to city councils across the county to talk about a sustainable future, a regional parks funding mechanism and conversation around that. So with those discussions, we have presented to a number of councils thus far. City of Vancouver on June 2nd, Battleground on June 3rd, City of Washougal on June 9th, La Center on June 11th, and in July, we will be at the rest of the councils throughout the county. At each of those council meetings, we focused conversation around formation of this task team to do 4 key steps. 1, understand the needs and gaps within each park system throughout the county. 2, look at the data and benchmark those systems and the data from those systems against national data to see where we stack up. to explore and understand other park system funding models nationally and to look at those funding models and see how it might fit within Clark County. And then the last item, to provide and recommend a sustainable long-term pathway to sustainability for parks funding throughout the county. And so we are here today to seek a placement of a county counselor on this task team and answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions from council? I wonder about the time commitment.
So the draft schedule we have in place would be, it's about a 6-month process. The initial meetings, probably the first 2 months, are every 2 weeks for an hour, hour and a half. The following meetings would be around an hour each and monthly beyond those 2 months. So a total of 8 meetings is what we're looking at.
Thank you. And could you give us a little flavor of how things went with those city councils?
It was really fantastic to hear from counselors, from elected officials across the county at the local level. What we have talked about at Clark County is it resonates with city councils. I think city councils are aware of the rapid growth we're experiencing throughout the county and the pressures that creates on the need for park space, trails, public gathering spaces, and cities as well are looking for solutions for sustainability. And so there were questions, there were insights shared, there was feedback, and there was excitement shared by counselors.
Great, thank you. Well, for starters, is there an interest of any of the council members to serve?
Sure. I would love to do that. I don't know if there's any others, but this has been a long time coming, looking forward to it. And I'd enjoy being involved in that process.
Okay, I'd enjoy as well, but I think if you're interested in stepping up, that would be great. So there you go. Okay, any other comments?
If I can just
Yes,
add one
please.
thought, several councils are proposing an alternate for the task team, so that if there was a conflict, that a second counselor would fill in.
Are you raising both of your hands for
Yeah,
that,
I-
Counselor Little?
I'm passionate about this issue, so I'd love to be alternate.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, there you go. And I think all of us are interested in hearing reports back as it progresses.
Thank you so much. We'll provide those.
Okay,
Thank you.
very much.
Good day.
Okay. Okay, then moving on to new business. Is there any new business?
None today. Thanks.
No new business. Counselor reports.
Chair,
Yes, please.
just one report to give today. The Housing Action Plan Steering Committee, we met this last week, and I am looking in to see if we can get the council forwarded the documents from the meeting, because it was very interesting. We got back a lot of information from people with lived experience on the barriers, the problems that they face, and the things that they need to change, so that we can look at those things to focus in terms of the action plan. But I'm waiting to hear back if that information can be shared. It's Council for the Homeless has that information at the time.
Is it the Housing Action Plan or the Homeless Action Plan?
Homeless
Oh,
Action
okay.
Plan, sorry.
I thought there was a planning going on I wasn't
Nope,
aware of,
nope.
but that's great. Yeah, yes, please do share. That would be great.
Okay.
Any other comments from council? I would just like to give a shout out to our county auditor, Greg Kimsey. He was named by the Washington State Secretary of State, Steve Hobbs, as Auditor of the Year. And I think in large part because of his response and follow-up related to the arson on one of our ballot drop boxes. So he was recognized for his service.
Chair,
Yes,
I believe this is his second time winning the award too, so pretty amazing.
he probably has a whole wall of awards in his office. Anyway, so very good work, and I think it's good for us to acknowledge that. Okay, anything else from counselors? Your light's on. Okay, work session requests.
Yes, we have a couple before you. The first one is from Community Development, and this is to go over the wetland and habitat fee structure. Last year, they did a fee update the first time in many, many years, and it has been proven to be helpful now. We were subsidizing general fund to that program for about $1.3 to $1.5 million a year, and that has been reduced. But part of the commitment with all of our fees is to bring this back and have a review annually during our annual budget process. So this is one of the policy decisions that council makes as we get up to the budget process. So they are requesting the work session for about an hour just to provide updates to new data and potential changes for the fee structure.
Great. Council, are you thumbs up on that? Thumbs up and nods. Okay, sounds good.
And the second one is from Public Works. Again, this is also policy decisions. You're going to start seeing these as we move through the summer and the fall. And this is from Public Works, and it's the 2026 to 2031 Stormwater Capital Plan. This plan is submitted to Ecology annually and also addresses some of the state requirements. So again, this is just to get council up to speed, get feedback from council prior to coming back for a hearing, and then this would also be included in our annual budget process. So this is another key policy decision that council considers annually.
Thank you. So council, thumbs up on that one? Yes, good. Thank you. Okay, policy.
Chair,
Oh, yep, go
I
ahead.
have a request.
Oh, yes, please go ahead.
Yes,
Sorry.
no worries. In 2023, let's see, community service brought together a number of stakeholders, including housing developers, government agencies, community organizations, and residents to create the Clark County Affordable Housing Planning Committee. I was part of that committee. I co-chaired a couple of different work groups, and we learned a heck of a lot. But what I'd like for community service to do is provide a high-level overview of the findings from this report and from the year-long, process that we went through. And so if that's possible and the rest of the council is open to it, we'd love to see a high-level overview from community services. And we did get the report. However, it's 58 pages, and it'd be great if other community members were able to hear a little bit about it as well.
I think it would be good for the public to
I think so too.
elevate that as well. I'd be supportive. Others?
And I thought didn't we already have that scheduled?
Not yet, no. I believe Vanessa was going to be out of town or out of the office for an extended period of time when that was sent. It was sent to council the end of February, and I can re-forward it to you. I do want to say that this was not a DCS project. It was a community-led project. So with that, is there a desire for DCS to reach out to anybody on that team to also come and provide information? Or maybe she can open it up and ask them if they would like to attend.
I think it's up to her, yeah.
Okay.
Up to Vanessa.
Okay. Are there thumbs up on that one? I think that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Thumbs up all around. Thanks for bringing that up. Any other work session requests coming from council? Okay, now we'll move on to policy updates and Jordan and 8.1 turnover timber sale update.
Good afternoon, Council. For the record, Jordan Bogey, Policy Analyst. I wanted to follow up from a conversation last week about the turnover timber sale that has gone through the SEPA review comment process, still in the overall process. I had an opportunity to reach out to some of our contacts at the Department of Natural Resources and just, get a little bit more information on what's going on with the sale, where the process is at, and where they are at administratively, given that, Commissioner Up the Grove is about 6 months into his first term here. And so what I heard back from DNR is that Commissioner Up the Grove, on day one of his administration, he did pause all timber sales containing Maturation 2 is the label, Maturation 2 stand development units. And the turnover timber sale is included in this pause that the commissioner put forward. However, in order to advance through the sale auction process, to bring this timber stand forward to the Board of Natural Resources for their consideration, the stand does need to go through the SEPA process, and the environmental review process needs to happen and be completed prior to bringing any proposed sale to the Board of Natural Resources for their full consideration. And so, as I mentioned last week, the sale is slated for auction toward the end of September. However, it sounds like with the pause, there still is a question if whether between the SEPA review here and the environmental process, and then when it is considered by the Board of Natural Resources, it may not be moved forward at that time. I also learned that DNR staff are, at the direction of the commissioner, working on a model that will provide more information to the Department of Natural Resources about structurally complex and older forests that DNR manages. And then based on the model in that study, that is going to inform future management practices by DNR related to forest lands. And DNR wasn't able to give me a timeline related to putting that model together. It sounds like it's a fairly complicated process that they are working through, but I have asked to be provided updates, and we'll be following up with them as they move forward. And so at this point, that is where the sale sits. It has gone through the initial environmental SEPA process. A final determination has not yet been issued, though that is likely to come here at some point. Then it would go before the Board of Natural Resources. Commissioner Up the Grove is one member of the Board of Natural Resources, and based on the pause, it would either be paused or moved forward for further action or for the auction and sale in September. And so that is really where things stand for now. And so that's the update I have for council. I'm happy to chat about that a little bit more, about potential council next steps. The other thing I will say is that I've been working with DNR staff to set up some dates for the tours that council talked about, to have councilors go out and tour some of our trust lands and spend some time with DNR staff talking about some of the different programs that they're working on. And so those should be coming to council next week. I've been told they'll have some dates for me to provide to you so that we can work on scheduling those.
Thank you, Jordan. I'd like to talk about forestry just a little bit more as I've been thinking about this, because I think this turnover timber sale kind of caught us by surprise. And I know Wasac has a timber counties caucus that is really a forum to talk about timber issues. But I've wondered how we as a council can be in a more proactive stance related to forest issues, because I don't recall the council, this being a topic that's been discussed very much over the years. And I attended the Wasac Forest Counties last Saturday, and one of the issues they're wrestling with, and they had requested the county to weigh in, but the turnaround was really not enough time to really consult with the council on how they felt about this, but had to do with buffer widths related to non-fish bearing streams. So it's still very much an issue that's been being discussed with the Board of Forestry. But, and I wanted to suggest something, and I'm loath to add any more boards or commissions for any of us to sit on, but I do think it would be good to maybe formalize a little bit who represents this council on the Wasac Forest Counties Board, just to be looped in better, because I think there are opportunities if we are interested in protecting, I don't know what the classification would be, but the older growth forest or how we want to utilize that resource in Clark County. We need to get more engaged on the issue. So I wanted to suggest that and wonder if there's anyone, and I'm looking at you, Councilor Little, who because I think we identified, you know, you have some expertise, and it'd be great for you to take the lead on some of this. And I'd be happy to serve as an alternate if this is agreeable to the council. Go ahead, Councilor Belcott, you have your hand up.
In order to do that, Chair, for WASC, you have to apply for that committee, and if there is a vacancy, I don't believe there's a vacancy because I haven't seen anything go out for that particular committee because I've been on their transportation committee. So it's something where you have to run for basically a little election and get appointed to it. So that's how it normally works.
Great for that information. We will look into that because I've attended a few of the meetings, and nobody's seemed to mind, but we'll look into that. So thanks for that heads up. Councilor Little.
Yeah, thank you for that opportunity. Yeah, I would like to. I'm actually on the WASAC. I'm the rep for the county on the WASAC board, I believe. And so that would be a fitting thing. I also was thinking about what Jordan was talking about and I was thinking about two potential specific follow-ups that we could have related to that. You had mentioned, Jordan, the new model that the DNR is creating. That model is actually already in place with some nonprofits in Washington. Specifically, Cascade Forest Conservancy has created that model, and they have probably the exact same data that we could use to help identify areas in our county that are more structurally diverse. This is related to the conversation we had last week about using a new innovative climate carbon fund that was created in the state to promote swaps, basically looking for private timberlands like Weyerhaeuser land that is under threat of being sold or developed, and having that be purchased to swap out more structurally diverse older growth stands that we want to conserve. And it's kind of a win-win. And I was thinking that a good next step would be to have an internal meeting with Hunter, our forester, and a DNR local staff, possibly Cascade Forest Conservancy, who could provide the model and the data that's already out there, and possibly Chair Marshall and I, just as an initial kickoff meeting to see if we can get ahead of this. Because if we do a little bit of research of what lands are maybe up for sale right now, and we already have the data on what older forests are out there, we might be able to have Clark County be one of the models that are used in this new program that I think Commissioner Up the Grove would want to promote. So I think it would be a good next step for that. So that's suggestion number one. I don't know if we need thumbs up for that.
Well, thank you for that suggestion. And I would just want to assure that whatever a small work group might come up with comes back to the full council for our review and any thumbs up or follow-up action that might be needed. So I'd be supportive of that. Others?
Chair, I would just be careful that at some point, I think it's important that we bring people in that represent the industry. Make sure that we don't make decisions in a vacuum that can have really unintended consequences, and they can help, because I think all of us here on the council are looking at this from conserving wherever we possibly can. But if they are going to be the ones that are going to know the impacts of what we're looking at, and then help to kind of steer to where we can get the best plan possible, but still impact the industry as little as possible. So
that would be great.
Yeah.
I think that's a great addition to that meeting.
Thank you. And then initially we'd just be looking at DNR land. Is that correct?
Yeah, but we'd also be looking at private timberlands like Weyerhaeuser
Potential
type
swaps.
Yeah.
Yep.
See what kind of pressures they're under right now to financially to maybe sell off some lands.
Right. And all of this is totally willing seller.
Totally.
Yeah. Any other comments?
Just thank you for being willing to do that.
Okay, I feel like three people have said there. I see a fourth thumb, fifth thumb. Thank you very much, and then we'll also check out if there's an application process for the forest counties with WASAC. So thanks for that. Okay, Jordan, anything else on this one?
I only have
The only other thing
Oh.
I would,
Oh, just a moment. Councilor Little is not quite done.
just the second idea was when we get those tours of the county properties that are being forested to just see the practices, it would be good if the staff came prepared to talk to us about different type of management goals that the county could have, kind of looking toward the long-term sustainability of those forests versus just an economic harvest angle. I'd be interested in seeing what our options are for focusing more on longer term management of the forest.
Are you talking about DNR staff or county staff? Because we do own some forests.
Yeah, I was talking about just the county owned and managed forests.
Okay.
They had come to us a few weeks ago, and I had mentioned this before, but I just want to make that a specific request that we hear a little bit about those ideas when we go on the tour.
Great.
Do you
And-
want that just shared during the tour? Because I assume most of the council's not going to be going on the tour
Oh.
together. So I want to make sure that all the council has that
Yeah,
information.
it would be great if it could come back to the council, full council,
So I just want to clarify.
after the tour.
Okay, so you don't need them to be prepared then during the tour to talk about long-term goals because I think there's expertise, which I know our forester actually presented information on that already in a work session. I didn't, and I could not be remembering correctly, but I don't remember there being a follow-up from that work session for additional information from the staff because they did talk about goals and stuff, and best practices. And of course, council sets if you want to change any long-term policy direction based on that. So I just want to get clarification.
I think it may, and this happens sometimes where it's not clear from the council what we might be asking.
That's
And-
why I asked the questions.
Thank you.
Yes.
I recognize that. But my recollection is it did come up just as a comment that, whether or not these lands could be, the forest that we own could be managed for old growth because it's not currently. So it was a question asked, but there was, I don't think, any particular direction, but now it sounds like there may be direction.
Yeah, I guess to be more specific, I guess we would be asking for specific scenarios of long-term management that would promote the older growth, more diverse stands, and what those management scenarios would look like so that we could potentially approve that direction.
So it sounds like that's a specific request for information and it could come back to the entire council.
Yes. Yeah. If that's council's desire, we can certainly.
Yeah, there's probably scenarios where you could do more active, more faster rotations on harvest to promote economics. And then in other areas where it might be more appropriate to focus more on growing the forest for older growth and natural resources focus, recreation.
It would be good to better understand what our strategies are there. I don't know what our total acres are that the county owns as far as forests, but
I can go back and look at that work session and we can ask staff because I didn't think we had a lot of.
I don't think we
older
have a
growth.
lot. Right.
So are you wanting this from just county staff? Are you also asking for DNR? Because I also know that they did a presentation as well on older growth because that might be more broad and more impactful than if we just if we don't have very many acres, I want to make sure that we're using the staff's time to the fullest potential to help council. But if it's a small number of acres, how much detail do you want them?
This ask would be just some general concepts of management strategies just for our county acres. There's already conversations going on with the DNR folks that Jordan is.
And this is above and beyond what they already presented in the work session then?
Yeah. Because they specifically just went over what current management schemes are, and we'd like to look at what options are to change it.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to make sure that's council's direction. Thank you.
Go ahead, Counselor.
I'm just going to say I'll be supportive of that. I don't want to make sure that we're clear that there's direction on that.
Okay, I think Counselor Belcott, did you up, down, or in between? Okay, thank you. Well, we'll get more information, and that will be good. Okay, enough about Forest for the moment. Okay, Jordan, moving on to 8.2.
Thanks, Chair. And just final point for you and the public, if you're interested, the proviso that allocates funding for that land swap starts on page.
Jordan, you're kind of breaking up, and I don't know if it's that you're moving your direction of your head back and forth, but you're breaking up a little bit. Now we can't hear you at all. Oh, there, that's good.
Back? Okay. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm back. The only other
Okay.
thing I wanted to mention was that if folks are interested in looking at the program for that land swap, the funding allocation and some of the details start on page 143 of the capital budget that was just passed. So if you want to take a look, that's where that direct information is.
Go ahead.
Jordan, do you think you could send that around to us?
Yeah,
By
absolutely.
email, please. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And then the next item I have for you, 8.2, is related to the request that council put forward last Wednesday for a letter requesting that the state DSHS open the Brockman facility, which, as you'll recall, is for folks with severe mental health issues who are engaged in the criminal justice system, who are harm to themselves or others. And the Brockman Residential Treatment Facility was funded by the state and finished just very recently. They're wrapping up construction here, but has been placed in warm closure status for the biennium. And so I have drafted a letter here based on council's direction, asking them to, with all expediency, open that campus as soon as they can to help support the need in our community. So I would offer this letter to council for any thoughts you have, any edits, and then a thumbs up to see if you're interested in moving this forward to send out.
Counselors, any comments?
Yeah, I'm definitely supportive, but there is an extra 2 in the first paragraph, last sentence.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts or corrections or input?
No, just thank you, Jordan, for putting this letter together. It's very well written, so thank you. Except the extra 2.
Except for that extra 2. Okay, thumbs up on the letter. It looks like thumbs up all around. Thanks very much, Jordan.
Thank you, council. The final item I have for you today is just another update on the BEAD program. As you'll recall, BEAD stands for Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program. And there have been some changes to the program at the federal level. So this came out of the Infrastructure and Jobs Act that was passed in 2021 under the prior administration. And this administration has removed some different requirements that were part of the BEAD program. There were a number of administrative provisions that have been lifted, including the previous version of the program prioritized in-ground fiber. This new, the new regulations are more agnostic on the type of broadband that can be delivered. So in addition to in-ground cable fiber hookups, it also contemplates more robustly things like wireless short range internet. So this is where you might put something up on a pole or a cell tower and kind of blast broadband into a smaller local area. Also things like satellite internet as well. So that's been a change. The administrative requirements that have shifted have necessitated at least one more round of proposals. So Washington State, through it has been going through for a number of years the process of implementing the BEAD program, but there have been in this calendar year 3 proposal windows where internet service providers who are interested in working in the project areas that the state has identified can apply to be the ones to deploy fiber in any given project area, of which there are a number across the state. There are 8 here in Clark County. But due to these changes, there has another requirement that's been added for one more round of proposals. And I am not 100% sure at this point whether or not the 3rd round that Washington is currently engaged in that ends at the end of July can count as this next round for the feds, or whether the state will need to do one more round of proposals, bid submissions for these project areas. If that is the case, that would add probably another 60 days or 90 days on top of the end of the summer deadline that we had been anticipating for the state to get its piece done. Once that happens, they will submit to the NTIA. So that is the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. The NTIA has committed to reviewing all state proposals that are done within 90 days. So I think it is still likely that late fall or the end of the year that funding will start potentially going out to internet service providers to deploy fiber. But there's been a little bit of a delay given that. Although one of the things that we may see is potentially more internet service providers applying for project areas, given that some of the restrictions have been loosened. So I haven't seen a list of the providers who have applied to deploy fiber here in Clark County, but it's possible we might get a few more as a result of this extra round. So I'll keep an eye on that and keep you up to date as I learn more. But just wanted to let you know as we work to hopefully connect up all the rural parts of the county, especially to high-speed internet.
Thank you, Jordan, for following this laborious process that has been underway. Has there, as a result of this BEAD program, been any additional enhancement of internet service in Clark County or anywhere in the state?
So as far as I'm aware, as of yet, no dollars through the BEAD program have funded shovels in the ground deploying fiber as of yet. Now, the county did utilize one-time ARPA funds to support a project northeast of Battleground Lake, and so I know the council has been engaged in that side of providing internet access, and I have been in touch with Comcast, and I know that they are moving through their milestones and working to connect up houses up there, and that seems to all be on time as far as I'm aware in terms of that project.
Is there any concern about funding of this at this point at the federal level?
Not that I'm aware of. My understanding from the materials that I've seen about the changes to the program have really been that it's more on the policy and administrative side, but the funds that have been appropriated and allocated are still going to be available to each of the states based on the work that was done over the last few years to identify the need in each state.
Great, thank you. We'll stay tuned. All right. Anything else? Good of the order or other?
That's all I've got for you today, Council.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, moving on then to executive session 9.1, collective bargaining for 10 minutes. 9.2, potential litigation, RCW 42.30.110, paren 1, paren little I, for 10 minutes. So that's a total of 20 minutes. So that would take us to 2:05. Thank you. Okay, so we will return after executive session.
The chair has asked us to announce that executive session will be extended for an additional 5 minutes and open session will reconvene at 2:10. Thank you. Good afternoon. The chair has asked us to announce that executive session will be extended for an additional 5 minutes and open session will reconvene at 2:15. Thank you. The council has asked for us to announce that executive session will be extended for an additional 5 minutes and open session will reconvene at 2:20. Thank you.
Okay, council has returned from our executive session. There's no after action. Our meeting is complete, and without objection, we are adjourned.